Alright, we're going to jump in real quick. The point of this video is just to walk through how to make a new calendar in Go High Level. So we are at the dashboard. I'm just going to go here to settings. So before we go to calendars, why don't we make sure we have the team perhaps set up. So we're going to go settings and then my staff. Let's go ahead and throw a staff member in here just so they have access to the calendar. Plus that's going to open us up to creating a team calendar too. We can't really create a team calendar if we don't have any team members in here. So let's just go ahead and add somebody in here real quick. If you already have somebody in here, then don't worry about this step. I'm just going to go ahead and add somebody in here real quick. If I can spell. Password. We're not going to really worry about any of this stuff. So user calendar configuration. Let's just not worry about that right now. Let's just save our user. Okay, perfect. So now we're still in the settings. So in the event that we're not, just hit the settings on the bottom left. Now let's go to calendars. Now let's make a calendar. Now we're going to call this John Doe calendar. Spell. I could probably be a little bit more original. We don't have a linked calendar yet because we don't have a Google account. That'll be something else too. So what we do is we make the calendar first and then we can integrate the Google account to it for John Doe. So right now we're just going to leave it as is. We're going to hit save and continue. Now this is going to be our basic calendar setup. So this is going to be how we determine what days we want to have, and then also most important, how long do we want to delay before somebody can book an appointment with us? And then also, how far out in the future do we want them to book? Probably not going to be helpful if somebody's booking for next month or 6 months from now, unless you've got a real specific use case for that. So let's just take this top to bottom. Slot duration and slot interval. This is going to set you up basically for a 30-minute appointment. Buffer between appointments. Right now we've got this set at 0. So if you wanted to run a 30-minute appointment and you didn't want to let anybody book an appointment for 15 minutes after that, that's where you could put a buffer duration in here. Appointments per slot, 1. This is going to be typical if you're meeting with somebody or you've got a human one-on-one going on. If we were doing a Zoom booking, we would possibly raise this up to 100. Appointments per day, this is a good way to cap the calendar from getting out of control. Or maybe you've got a specific use case where you only want to have maybe 2 or 3 appointments coming in per day. That could be for maybe like a hiring situation. You know, you don't need 50 interviews a day for the hiring role, but you might need to taper 3 interviews per day. That would be a good opportunity to come in there and plug in a lower number. Typically, we're not going to cap that, but that, again, just depends on why we're doing it. Minimum scheduling notice. I love this one. Typically, you're going to want to do maybe a 2-hour minimum. That's if you're going to allow a same-day appointment. If you change this to, say, 12 hours, this is typically not going to let anybody book same day. Even if they try to book same day, it's not going to let them based upon the 12 hours. So, date range. This is where you could be pretty aggressive. So, let's do a 6-day date range. This is really going to force somebody to push the issue and to book an appointment with you. This can also lead to you not having any availability on your calendar, so be careful. If you're really heavily booked, you might want to change this to, say, 8 days. That's going to give a little bit more space. The date range also is not going to take into accordance for the weekends, too. So if it's Friday and you're not taking appointments on Saturday and Sunday, that's still going to be in there. So right now you can see the blue. The blue means that these days are spoken for, so you can see down here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. If I wanted to add on 7 days a week, I would come up here and I would just click on these days. Clicking on these days is what's going to show the hours down here so you can toggle those. Let's take off Saturday and Sunday. That's pretty non-traditional. You can see it's kind of set up for a basic 8 to 5 structure right now. Make sure you pay special attention to the AM and the PM. If you make your start time PM by accident, you're going to make it so there's no appointments available. But this is a pretty clean situation here, just kind of an 8 to 5. You know, if I want to toggle this to, say, 10 a.m., that might be a little bit more reasonable. Not to say I'm not available at 8 a.m., but maybe I don't need appointments raining down in my life at 8 a.m. Classic Friday situation here. Why don't we toggle this into maybe, say, 1 o'clock? Leaves a little bit of availability on a Friday, but doesn't allow anybody to be booking a late day appointment. So let's hit save and continue. That's going to take us over to the third confirmation page. You can reach each one of these pages by clicking on these buttons up here. I don't mess around a whole lot on this page. I know that might sound crazy. If you wanted to edit any of the stuff on here, you're welcome to edit it. If you see something in here, jump in. The only thing I do like to edit right here, the custom default message says, "Thank you for your appointment request. We will contact you shortly to confirm your request. Please call our office with any questions." I'm going to go ahead and remove that by default. We don't need anybody calling the office. The whole point of this appointment booking is for you not to be calling the office, or for us to be calling only during the appointment time. So the default setting will betray you a little bit there, and it'll actually give away your phone number to the customer. So always want to come in there and change that. Something that could be helpful, let's say you already have a website or something that's very helpful that's already been created. You know, maybe you're a real estate agent or an insurance agent. The company's already provided you some resources. You would click this button right here. Put in the link to your resources. Maybe you've got a bio page. Maybe you've got a confirmation page that you've already built. As soon as somebody books an appointment, you can automate the direction to go to the website. I'm going to leave it as the thank you message since I don't have anything right now for that. But that's kind of an easy way to automate what would happen to the customer experience after the booking. So small details in there, but critical details. So now we hit save. So now we're back looking. And now we've got this link right here. What is this blue thing? Well, this is actually the public-facing link to our calendar. Plus, this is the link that we would actually share. This is kind of the raw calendar link. So there's a way to kind of dress that up a little bit later. This would be a good opportunity to also take this link and turn it into a trigger link, but we can also jump into that later. So you'll notice calendar availability. Today is 4/6. So you'll notice no same-day booking because I did the 12-hour situation. So the soonest somebody can book me for right now, it's 1:05 Eastern time for me. The quickest they can book me is tomorrow at 11 o'clock. And this was done by default. That way, you know, for me, I like to wake up and I like to know what events are going on in my life. I don't want a curveball showing up and somebody booking a same-day appointment. You might be in a different situation where you welcome something like that. So completely different use cases. This is what the public link would look like if you shared your link. So it's always nice to kind of come in here and take a glance at this and say, does everything look good? Do I have availability? As long as you're happy with that, you can just close that window. And again, that would be the link that you would share to your calendar. So this was kind of meant to be a shorter video. I know I'm already at 8 minutes here. If you wanted to come back into the video, or not in the video, if you want to come back into the calendar settings, just hit these little 3 dots here. This is going to take you back to the edit section. We'll get into later maybe how to connect this to a Google Calendar. But right here, this is just the basic calendar setup and Go High Level. This calendar is not integrated right now. If you were to integrate it, on this first page, you would just click Link to Calendar. If you had integrated in Google, the calendar would show up in here. So real quick, we're already in the Settings menu. So if I click on Integrations, this is going to take me right to the Integrations menu. So for the calendar purpose, this is where you want to integrate your Google account. So click Sign In with Google, hit Yes, 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 and authorize Go High Level basically to access your Google account. Come back to Calendars, hit these 3 dots, and now Google is going to show up as an option at the bottom of page 1. So in here, Google will show up, and then what you do is you actually make it a 2-way integration. So kind of a small detail, make it a 2-way integration, but if you're going to integrate with Google, this is where it's going to show up. Once you've integrated with Google, make sure you save it. But on the left side of the system, notice over here, if you hit Go Back, and then you click on Calendars, this is actually how you see the calendar that you just made. So if you integrated with Google, you should see other booked events on here, assuming that you've got an active calendar booking in Google. If you wanted to make an event, you could click on here now. If you wanted to change the toggle on here, you could change this to monthly. So this is a little bit maybe more of a friendly setting. If you don't have that many bookings, if you're stacked with 10 or 15 bookings a day, the weekly or even the daily toggle could be helpful. So, whatever your use case is. Notice up here too, we can get right to calendar settings too. So that's kind of a new feature of the new layout. So pretty cool. That's kind of meant to be just kind of a rough overview of the calendar system here in Go High Level. A lot of cool things you can do with the calendars, but we'll jump into that on another video.